Throughout the history of YouTube, there's of course been no shortage of creeps on the platform. However, there's always existed one champion atop this mountain of weirdos, one alpha goober who is more laughably pathetic and cringe and more dangerously unhinged than all of the rest. His name used to send shivers down the spines of all parents who had teenage girls in their household. His name has long since been forgotten, like an ancient threat. He's like the Sauron of YouTube, the Thanos of online accused predators. His name is Onision. This is someone I've covered quite a few times on the channel over the years, and we're going to be talking about him again because he is now facing his biggest lawsuit yet for his alleged grooming and solicitation of pictures of underage girls, as well as a lot of other really awful things that he has been accused of over the years. Talking about Onision in 2023 is like talking about a 1970s obscure action movie villain that no one remembers. It's just been so long since anyone's actually talked about him outside of just mentioning all of his absolute degeneracy or laughing at him for when he embarrasses himself. Even though he's not active on YouTube, he is still active on Twitter and posts just unbearable, unreadable garbage. Things like, "What if I hugged you and then buried my tongue deep inside your asshole and then I fished around in there for dingleberries? Would you like that? Would you like that, my naughty princess? Would you get squirty for me?" Like, absolutely awful vomit-inducing shit. So he'd get dunked on Twitter still as just a little punching bag, but he wasn't really a YouTuber anymore for the last, 4 or 5 years. I'll go ahead and give you, a brief history of him, since I'm sure most of you don't even remember the shit stain that he left on the internet. I'll give you a little lore recap. He started making shit all the way back in 2007, but really what blew up his channel was this video, the banana song, "I'm a Banana." It was a viral video that really popped off, and it's during that era of YouTube where everything was just XD random and making silly songs like "Spoon, Spork, I got a spoon, a spork, sporky spoon," like that kind of awful shit. He capitalized on that genre and from there grew 3 channels with over 1 million subs each, one of them over 2 million, which for its time was unheard of. He was one of the biggest channels YouTube had for years. He was absolutely massive. And then he started letting that power get to his head. He started falling into a lot of controversies, but by far the biggest one was he had a website where his audience of mostly young teenage girls would send pictures of themselves that he would grade. He'd grade them on their attractiveness, on their bodies and shit like that, and he would critique them and talk about these pictures that little girls were sending to him. How the authorities didn't kick down his door and rip him out of his banana costume for all this shit, I will never fully understand, because there's a lot of substantiated evidence about all of this. So you can immediately see that this is a fucking awful person. This is a bad guy, and the controversies only continued to grow over the years. It got to a point where Chris Hansen investigated him. I think there's even a documentary about Onision and all the awful shit he's done. And he never really faced repercussions for these actions. He even still tried to capitalize off some of the shit. He started an OnlyFans page which focused on cuck porn of him. It's not even really worth going down that road, but yeah, he started an OnlyFans for even more weird shit that he was into and trying to sell. He had an appearance in court a couple years ago where everyone was laughing at him because he showed up in a bulletproof vest. He was actually suing Chris Hansen, but ended up suing the wrong Chris Hansen. And Onision is so unbelievably fucking stupid. He's an absolute bumbling idiot that he decided to represent himself in court. As you can imagine, this was a complete mockery of the legal system, and everyone was laughing at him because he went there in a fucking bulletproof vest, represented himself, and he looked like an extra out of a John Wick film. And now, fast forward to 2023, and he is facing by far his biggest lawsuit yet. They put out a statement a few days ago breaking down everything. The entire 48-page lawsuit is available to read and download if anyone really wants to see all of the details. Here are 5 counts alleged in the filing. This is just an article breaking down the situation, but this is all from the actual complaint. As you can see, it's very serious shit here. They're pulling no punches. This is the full knuckle sandwich they're coming after Onision with. And rightfully so. All of these allegations are disgusting. and he absolutely does need to be held accountable for years upon years of this kind of behavior. So I'm very curious to see how all of this plays out. This is a big deal for sure, and one that undoubtedly will be very interesting to see unfold. I am, however, excited to see Onision's newest breakdown video that he'll likely make for this. He's notorious for filming himself, having a meltdown, and leaning into the controversy where he tries to make like a mockery of it. So he like just has these over-the-top breakdowns, spitting and screaming and shitting and pissing all about people, you know, being mean to him. But those are usually just trying to farm off of the drama. So he tries to like clout goblin his way into a couple extra views for some ad revenue. This one, I think, is far more serious for him since this carries huge sentencing should he be found guilty on all of these things. Like, this is not a light lawsuit, at least not from what I've read here. This seems like this could be an absolute big one. So I don't know if he's going to be his usual deplorable attention farming self off this case here, but I guess we'll just have to see. Anyway, I just wanted to talk about this a little bit, and that's about it. See ya.